Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're now tuned into the morning show of yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist. Hopefully, you're having a great start to the day. Well, as you know, the markets are in a state of flux. It's a short trading week because of the Monday holiday. So markets are trading within a range. If you were just on the outside looking in, you may think, oh my goodness, the wheels are falling off, but they are not. I assure you, they are not. Even with all the moving around, jumping around of price action, you still are not even negatively pulse waving in a majority of the markets, even though the Dow is down 350 points. Yes, that one is pulse waving negative, but not really. The numbers look worse than it actually is on a technical basis. The Nasdaq 100 is down, but again, it's it's not a short. Now, depending on how these markets close today, especially if the selling accelerates, we could get some crash alerts for tonight into tomorrow's trading across the board. But anything short of that, I don't think so. I think the market is trying to figure some things out. We still have, the end of earnings season, and we got a few government reports, things like that. People are looking at the reality of the possibility of rate hikes and not rate cuts. So all these things are weighing on the market at this point in time. So, with that being said, yeah, markets are stuck in a range. And we showed that in last night's video. Also, a few of the markets are bumping up upon support and resistance zones or key support and resistance zones. So, kind of feeling its way around. I don't really expect too much to happen this week because of the short trading week, but you never know. So it's always it's better to be ready than not, right? Even gold is down $15 right now. Silver broke out to $32.51 an ounce before pulling back to 32.18. And it actually dipped to 31.78 in the overnight market. So the volatility is real. And that is usually a key sign, too, that some really extraordinary market moves are on the horizon. I still believe that Bitcoin, gold, and silver and oil are going to weigh heavily on these markets. I think as things unravel and the decline of the American empire begins to accelerate, I think you'll start to see these things manifest even more. I have not been shy of my opinions. I believe that it is a coordinated effort by the global elite to the shadow government that really runs the world. It's a coordinated dismantling of America. And your own American government is behind it and going along with it because they serve a different God. And theirs is calling for chaos. They have to bring chaos in order for them to realize their Camelot, their one world government. All right. So it's all the things that are in place. They flex their muscles these last 4 years, showing you that the one world government is very well alive and well. You saw the coordinated effort in response to the so called pandemic. And you saw the nations of the earth rally around and they all agreed to respond in unison. There was one talking point, one narrative, and they moved as one government. And right now, you're watching the coordinated effort to dismantle America from the inside out. That's right. This is all being orchestrated on purpose on multiple fronts. They're destroying and attacking infrastructure, which is already crumbling. That's why you're seeing that. You're seeing an acceleration of traumatic weather events, which are man made, not man made climate change. See, when you think, when you hear the phrase man made climate change, they have so brainwashed you to believe that it means that man has been doing something wrong to cause the environment to be angry with him. But in all actuality, man made climate change is true, just not the way you've been told to you. Man-made climate change is real because man is purposely changing the climate through cloud seeding and other geoengineering techniques to cause more storms and to make those storms that they cause even more catastrophic. Just take a look at Dubai. Take a look in the last 2 weeks in the US, how you've had dozens of tornadoes and freak weather events that do not occur naturally in nature without some interference or help or prodding by man. And then you see the food manufacturing facilities being blown up, literally being blown up and set on fire. And then you're seeing that happen. And then you're also seeing hyperinflation in food and energy. You're also seeing the coordinated layoffs and termination of employment and jobs. You're also seeing the acceleration of foreclosures, and you're seeing the acceleration of evictions. You're seeing the malls in America go belly up, and now they are nothing more than museums, and they are all closing down. You're starting to see lawlessness accelerate, violent crime accelerate, the love of many waxing cold. You're starting to see extreme poverty. You're starting to see an epidemic of homelessness, an epidemic of drug addiction and substance addiction. You're seeing an epidemic of mental illness and other mental impairments. You're seeing an epidemic of health crises. You're seeing epidemics in the rising rates of cancer. You're seeing epidemics in the rising rates of children with autism and other physical and mental deficits. You're seeing the coordinated installation of the occult being shoved down your throat in films and television shows, and you're seeing it in music videos, and you're seeing it in concerts, and you're seeing it during the halftime show and football games. You're seeing it, um, BET awards, music awards. You're seeing all of this, all these coordinated things happening simultaneously because they're being orchestrated and coordinated. This is the dismantling of the American superstate, superpower. America is now, instead of just cloud seeding, it's now sovereignty seeding. It's ceding its sovereignty to the world government, to the one world government. And throughout this process, you're seeing the thing called shrinkflation. And you're seeing shrinkflation in just about everything that you purchase. Now people are crying because the portion sizes at Chipotle have shrunk. So you're seeing shrinkflation even in fast food. And like I said, fast food is a luxury now in America. While you have 11 million children living in poverty and thousands of stores closing, retail stores closing, malls closing, businesses closing, jobs being lost, Little by little, our standard of living has been eroding. A couple decades ago, we had the largest and most prosperous middle class in the history of the world. But now most of the country is struggling. At this point, fast food is considered to be a luxury. 11 million children are living in poverty, and thousands of stores are permanently shutting down all over the United States because consumers have so little discretionary income these days. Remember when Toys R Us closed its doors? We are in the midst of a historic cost of living crisis, and those at the bottom of the economic food chain are being hit the hardest. The ultra wealthy don't really care that food costs have been soaring, but for those that are barely scraping by from month to month, day to day, week to week, it makes an enormous difference. Once upon a time, fast food restaurants were those that were struggling, went to eat. Remember the dollar menu? But now fast food is considered to be a luxury in 2024, and that's because fast food prices have gone absolutely haywire. A Big Mac sandwich at McDonald's, for example, cost $3.99 in 2019. Now, just 4 years later, that price has more than doubled to $8.29, according to fast food menu prices and online tracker. Gone too are the days of the $5 footlong at Subway. A BLT footlong that cost $5.50 in 2019 now costs customers $8.49 in 2024, though prices can vary by location, of course. Additionally, Chipotle's beloved chicken burrito that cost $6.50 in 2019 now runs you $10.70. Fast food executives have pointed to rising wages and increased costs for ingredients as factors driving up the prices on their menus. I mean, you're listening to this and you see that these numbers are staggering, and it's difficult for you to come to terms with it. I never would have imagined that a day would come when a Big Mac costs $8, when it costs McDonald's like something like anywhere from 10 cents to 50 cents to make it. That's insane. A different survey that was recently conducted by LendingTree discovered that almost 80% of all Americans believe that fast food is a luxury item now. That's right, nearly 80% of Americans now consider fast food to be a luxury item as families feel the squeeze from the Biden regime's failing economy. You can't blame that on Trump. Trump's been gone for years now, Mr. Biden. According to a survey from LendingTree of around 2,000 adults, what was once considered an affordable option for low-income workers is fast becoming the opposite. Meanwhile, the number of American children living in poverty continues to increase with each passing day. If you can believe it, we are being told that over 11 million U.S. children are now living in poverty. More than 11 million children, ladies and gentlemen. That is crazy. And that's based on statistics from 2021, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, data published by the Children's Defense Fund. Now, that equates to around 1 in 7 children in the U.S., or 15.3%. It's a high toll, and one even higher than the adult population, which was 10.5% for 19 to 64-year-olds that year, and 10.3% for adults age 65 plus. According to an analysis by the Peter G. Peterson Foundation, this difference is due to factors such as the cost of caregiving and its responsibilities, transitions to single parenthood household, unemployment of parents, and disabilities of family members. Think about that. Transitions to a single parent household. That means divorce, separation, the breakdown of human relationships. Today, approximately 40% of the entire country is considered to be either living in poverty or among the ranks of the working poor, and 42 million Americans are on food stamps. We now have an absolutely gigantic underclass that is largely made up of people that were once solidly middle class. The rapidly rising cost of living is just shredding families from coast to coast. In Montana, one senior is incredibly frustrated because his property taxes have increased by 790% over the past several years. You heard me correctly. A senior from Montana has delivered a viral speech about the sorry state of property taxes in the Treasure State. He said that I'm on Social Security, I'm 68 years old, and working just to pay my taxes. And he shared this clip on TikTok. And Ryan, and this was doing it in Montana. So Kurt claims that over the last couple of years, his annual property taxes have soared $895 to almost $8,000. You heard me correctly. His property taxes annually was only $895. Now it's $8,000, an increase of 790%, which he says is like paying almost $700 a month of rent to the state to live in our own house. The state has an elderly homeowner renter tax credit, and the maximum credit is $1,150. Guys, this is absolute foolishness. His property taxes have skyrocketed because property values have skyrocketed. And property values have skyrocketed because our leaders flooded the system with way too much money. Small businesses are being monkey hammered by inflation as well. In fact, one recent survey found that 86% of all U.S. small businesses say that they are being hurt by inflation. An overwhelming majority of small business owners say they are being hurt by rising prices. The new survey released says that there is 86% reporting being hurt by high costs, with only 6% saying they are thriving and not struggling. Now, in the same survey, more than 3,000 business owners from mid-April to mid-May found that they are overwhelmingly lament the burden of inflation. And what about dollar stores in particular? They're being hit really hard by rising costs. For example, 99 Cents Only has decided to close all of their stores, not some, not a majority, but all of their stores, because conditions have changed so dramatically. For years, dollar stores were a fixture in nearly every strip mall in California, offering cheap household goods, bread and produce, and even toys and gifts. But it seems like your favorite dollar store is heading for the exit. 2024 may be the end. In April, California-based 99 Cents Only announced it was closing all 371 locations after decades in business. The retailer blamed economic factors, including rising levels of shrinkflation, inflation, and shifting consumer demand that has presented significant and lasting challenges. Not to be outdone, Dollar Tree has announced that it will be closing about 1,000 stores. Dollar Tree, which owns Family Dollar, recently said it will close nearly 1,000 stores. That's after Dollar Tree raised prices in the past couple of years for the first time in decades. Overall, so far in 2024, retailers have already announced that they will be closing nearly 3,200 stores. And we haven't even reached the midpoint of the year yet. The retail industry is going through an extremely tough time as it copes with inflation-weary consumers and a rash of bankruptcies, prompting chains to announce the closures of almost 3,200 brick and mortar stores so far in 2024, and that's according to new analysis. So that's a 24% increase from a year ago, according to a report from retail data provider CoreSite, which tracks store closures and openings across the United States. So the final countdown for the U.S. economy has already begun, but most Americans do not even realize what's happening. And that's because most Americans just assume that the leaders that you elected into office can fix things by printing even more money. And their conditions will return to normal eventually. Even though they told you during the pandemic, there is no going back. There is no going back to normal. This is the new normal. But the truth is that there isn't going to be a return to normal, because this is about as normal as things are going to get. It has taken decades of horrendous decisions to get the United States to this point where it's groveling on its knees, and now we are steamrolling toward economic oblivion. If you think that your leaders in Washington will be able to turn this ship around, you are just being delusional. Remember, they already told you. Were you listening? They said you will own nothing and be happy, because they know that by jacking up property taxes and everything else, that you're not going to be able to pay those property taxes. Thus, you will lose your home. And then one of these corporations will come and buy it from the state for pennies on the dollar, and you'll be homeless. That's the goal. That's the plan, folks. Wake up and smell the coffee. This is a coordinated effort to make the American people extremely desperate, to the point that they're so hungry, literally, for food, that they'll be willing to take the mark of the beast without question. You'll be willing to give up your freedoms, your civil rights, your constitutional rights, your Bill of Rights, just for a sandwich made with artificial meat that was processed from GMO seeds, that has been already exposed to cause cancer in mice. Thanks for tuning in to the morning show with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist. I hope you have a pleasant rest of your day. See you back here this evening for the end of day watch list. We're going to be watching these markets closely today to see if there is a turnaround rally into the close, which there is a suspicion that that may be the case. You could be looking at an intraday bear trap. We'll know more as the day progresses, but this is just FYI. All right, folks, remember the system works if you work the system. Bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And on that note, I'm out. Peace.